I walked into the kitchen, expecting the usual clatter of breakfast chaos, but it was too quiet. Dad was at the table, flipping through a newspaper, and Stepmom was humming while arranging toast on our plates. "Morning," I muttered, trying to sound casual. "Good morning, sweetheart," Dad replied without looking up. "Sleep well?" "Yeah," I grabbed a slice of toast. My stepbrother Liam was leaning against the counter, scrolling on his phone. He didn't even glance at me. "You're up early," I said. He shrugged. "Just couldn't sleep." His eyes flicked toward Mom and a small smirk tugged at his lips. I felt that familiar pinch of exclusion. "You two planning something?" I asked, though I already knew. Mom turned, smiling perfectly. "Nothing you need to worry about, honey. Just some errands after breakfast." Her voice was soft, too controlled, like rehearsed lines in a play. I frowned. "Errands? At 9 in the morning?" Dad chuckled. "She likes to start the day early." I nodded, but the pit in my stomach didn't ease. Something was off. I watched them exchange a glance so quick I almost missed it. Too quick. "Matt, are you okay?" Mom's tone was concerned, but I caught the subtle edge beneath it. "I'm fine," I said, forcing a smile. I didn't want to give them the satisfaction of my suspicion. Liam snorted. "You always look like you're brooding over the world." "Maybe I am," I muttered, taking a bite of toast. "You're imagining things," Dad said, glancing between us. "Mom's been nothing but kind since she moved in. I don't see any reason to doubt her." "I'm not doubting," I said, though I knew I was. My thoughts swirled. That glance between Mom and Liam, the hushed laughter I sometimes caught. Was I paranoid, or were they hiding something? Mom placed a hand on Dad's shoulder. "We're a family now. You'll see, Matt. Everything will be fine." Fine. The word sounded hollow in my ears. Liam pushed off the counter and grabbed his backpack. "I'm out. Try not to ruin the perfect family illusion, okay?" I swallowed hard, my throat tight. "Sure," I said, though my heart hammered. Once he left, the silence settled over the kitchen like a heavy curtain. Dad returned to his newspaper, Mom to her humming, but I couldn't shake the feeling that I was watching a well-rehearsed performance, and I was the only one seeing the cracks. I sipped my coffee, staring at the perfect facade. And I wondered how long it would hold before everything inside it came crashing down. I was heading down the hallway when I heard their voices drifting from Dad's study. "I don't understand," Dad was saying. "You're sick? Why didn't you tell me sooner? I didn't want to worry you," Mom said, her tone soft, almost too smooth. "It's nothing serious, just something I need to take care of." I paused, pressing my back against the wall. That smoothness, it wasn't concern. Something about it felt rehearsed. "Mom, this is serious. You should have told me immediately." Dad's voice cracked slightly. I know. She trailed off. I could hear her laughter bubble up, tiny and forced, before it disappeared. "I didn't want to ruin our plans." "Plans?" My stomach knotted. I debated going in. Should I confront them now or wait? My feet moved before my brain could stop them. "Mom," I said softly, stepping into the doorway. She didn't turn. Dad looked up, startled. "Matt, I didn't hear you," Dad said, trying to mask his worry. "I overheard." "Are you really sick?" I asked, keeping my voice calm. Mom finally looked at me, eyes wide, smile fixed. "I'm fine, sweetheart, really, don't worry." "You're always fine," I muttered, frowning. "That's what worries me." Dad gave me a glance, confused. "Matt." "Nothing," I said quickly, stepping back. But inside, my mind was racing. Something wasn't right. Later that morning, my phone buzzed. "Aunt Lisa," I answered immediately. "Matt, are you okay?" Her voice was sharp, concerned. I think something's off with Mom," I said. She told Dad she's sick, but it didn't sound real. And then I caught that laugh, like she was hiding something. "Oh, Matt," Aunt Lisa sighed. "You have a good instinct. Sometimes adults, people you think you can trust aren't always truthful. But be careful, okay? Observe first." "I can't just ignore it," I said. "I want to tell Dad, but I don't have proof." "What if I'm overthinking?" "Then watch, don't act yet. Evidence matters more than feelings sometimes," she advised. After the call, I wandered back to the living room. Mom was reading a magazine, humming softly. Dad had gone out for errands. I sat across from her. "You really are okay, right?" I asked. She smiled warmly. Yes, Matt, just a little tired, that's all. You don't sound tired, I said, narrowing my eyes. You sound rehearsed. Her smile faltered for a fraction of a second. I don't know what you mean. I leaned back, heart pounding. I'll figure it out, Mom. I'm not stupid. She laughed lightly, almost nervously. I know you're smart. That's why I love you, in a way. The words chilled me. I didn't know if it was love or manipulation. My gut screamed that this was the first real fracture in the family facade. I spent the rest of the day watching, listening, questioning every gesture, every tone. Something was off. Something important. And I was determined to find out what it was. Dad burst into the living room, a grin plastered across his face. Pack your bags, everyone! We're going on a little getaway. A getaway? I asked, raising an eyebrow. Yes. Mom chimed in, smiling brightly. Just a short trip to relax, celebrate life. And well, my health. I stiffened. Celebrate your health? Dad laughed nervously. It's nothing serious, Matt. Just some rest, fresh air, fun. Liam nudged me as he passed. Looks like I get to babysit you for a few days. He smirked, his eyes flicking to Mom. I scowled. Funny. At the airport, the tension didn't ease. Mom clutched Dad's arm like a prop, whispering, laughing at little jokes I didn't hear. Liam and she shared these glances, these quick smiles that felt like private secrets. I shoved my hands into my pockets. Matt, are you coming? Dad called, a little too cheerfully. I'm right here, I said, trailing behind. Hey, Liam said, elbowing me lightly. Relax, it's supposed to be fun. I don't see the fun yet, I muttered. Mom turned to me, her smile radiant. You'll enjoy it, Matt. Just give it a chance. I nodded, though my stomach twisted. Once we reached the resort, the lobby was dazzling. Polished marble, sparkling chandeliers. The hotel manager greeted us with a smile that felt too practiced. Welcome to Seaview Resort. I hope you enjoy your stay, he said, handing over keys. Thank you, Dad replied. Mom leaned slightly closer to him. It's going to be wonderful, don't you think? I watched, trying to ignore the way they leaned into each other. Liam shot me a glance, grinning. See? Perfect family trip, I clenched my jaw. Yeah, perfect, I muttered, though my voice was hollow. Later, we unpacked. Mom flitted from room to room, checking windows, arranging towels. Liam lounged on the balcony, phone in hand. I lingered in the doorway, observing. You're staring again, he said, smirking. Am I? I asked, trying to sound casual. Yes, he said, leaning back. Don't pretend you're not watching Mom. I froze. I'm not. You are. Admit it. I'm making sure she's okay, I said quickly. Liam chuckled, eyes sparkling. Sure, that's it. Nothing suspicious here. I turned away, my chest tight. I caught them again, Mom and Liam laughing at something on his phone. Their heads bent together, smiles wide, sharing jokes I wasn't part of. A pang of jealousy and unease hit me. Dinner that evening was quiet, Dad chatting happily about resort amenities, Mom occasionally glancing at me with that same reassuring smile. But I felt like I was watching a show from the wrong seat, seeing things no one else would notice. I swallowed hard, pushing my unease aside. For now, I'd play along, but every laugh, every glance between them, I filed away in my mind. Something was brewing, and I intended to see exactly what it was. I leaned against the balcony railing, watching the resort pool glitter under the sun. Liam and Mom were sitting on a lounge chair, heads bent together, laughing quietly. My stomach tightened. That laugh, it wasn't just fun. It was secretive, too close. Matt, come join us for lunch, Dad called from inside, cheerfully unaware. Not hungry, I muttered, though my eyes stayed fixed on them. Mom glanced over her shoulder, smiling warmly. Are you feeling okay, sweetheart? I'm fine, I said, forcing a casual tone. But inside, a storm was brewing. Liam nudged Mom, whispering something that made her laugh softly. I couldn't hear the words, but the expression on her face made my blood run cold. I grabbed my phone, pretending to scroll, but aimed the camera subtly in their direction. A few photos, nothing incriminating yet, but enough to jog my gut instincts. Matt, what are you doing? Dad asked, appearing behind me with a plate of food. Just checking messages, I said quickly. Dad smiled, patting my shoulder. Relax, Matt. Enjoy the view. I swallowed hard, glancing back at them. Liam leaned in, whispering again, brushing Mom's hand lightly. She glanced around before laughing softly. I bit my lip, torn between confronting them or keeping quiet. Matt, are you okay? You've been quiet all day, Dad said, a hint of concern in his voice. I'm fine, really, I said, though my mind raced. Just thinking. Mom called out, Dinner later at the resort restaurant? You'll join, won't you? I guess so, I muttered. Their eyes met briefly, almost conspiratorial. My chest tightened. Later, I watched from the hallway as they walked toward the lounge, whispering and laughing again. A waiter passed by, giving Mom a polite nod. She smiled back warmly, a practiced charm. I gritted my teeth. Why does everything feel like a performance? I muttered under my breath. You're imagining things, Liam said suddenly, stepping beside me. It's just a family trip. You're reading too much into smiles. I'm not imagining anything, I snapped. I see how you look at her, how she looks at you. Don't act like it's innocent, Liam smirked. Oh, Matt, always so serious. Lighten up. Maybe she just likes me. Or maybe she doesn't, I said, my voice low but sharp. Maybe there's something you're hiding. Liam shrugged, walking away with a lazy grin. Good luck figuring that out. Dad appeared then, cheerfully oblivious. Matt, are you ready for a swim? I forced a smile. Sure, Dad. As I followed him, I couldn't shake the image of Mom and Liam, laughing and leaning close. My mind raced with questions and suspicions. Should I confront them now, or gather proof first? I walked past the pool, scanning every interaction. Every glance, every whisper, every laugh felt loaded. Mom waved at a guest passing by, smiling so sweetly it made my stomach churn. I gripped my towel tightly, forcing myself to breathe. For Dad, I'd stay quiet for now. But the unease gnawed at me, and I knew I couldn't ignore it forever. Something was off, and I intended to find out exactly what. The resort's main hall was alive with music, laughter, and clinking glasses. I stood near the back, pretending to admire the decorations while my eyes locked on them. Mom was in a flowing dress, smiling at everyone as if she belonged to this glamorous world. Liam stood beside her, leaning close, whispering something that made her laugh softly. My chest tightened. I muttered under my breath, Unbelievable. Dad came over, glass in hand. Matt, aren't you coming to dance? I think I'll watch for now, I said, forcing a smile. Dad frowned but nodded. All right, but don't stay hidden too long. I stayed back, phone in my hand, recording from a distance. Every movement, every glance, every laugh, they didn't notice me. You look amazing tonight, Liam whispered, brushing his hand near hers. Mom leaned in, voice low. Thank you. You're looking charming yourself. I froze. Charming. That word felt poisonous in my ears. My hands shook slightly as I kept recording. A resort guest passed by, glancing at Mom and Liam with a polite smile. She returned it effortlessly, bending toward Liam, laughing like the world revolved around him. I pressed my lips together, my stomach churning. Should I confront them now, or wait until I had undeniable proof? Dad didn't deserve to be blindsided. But the betrayal felt immediate, sharp, like a punch in the chest. Matt? Dad's voice startled me. He had wandered closer. Are you okay? Fine, I said, sliding the phone discreetly into my pocket. Just tired. Mom caught my eye briefly and smiled. Too sweet, too rehearsed. I looked away, pretending to sip my drink. Liam spun her gently into a twirl, holding her hand close. Her laughter rang like a bell, light and intoxicating, but my stomach sank. I gritted my teeth. Why is this happening? I whispered to myself. Why now? Dad glanced again, oblivious. You should dance, Matt. Join in. Don't be shy. I'm fine, I muttered, stepping back. Every glance between them burned into my mind, Whispered words, soft touches, smiles meant only for each other. It was all there, clear as day. A guest nudged past me, commenting to Mom, "You two make quite a pair." Mom laughed lightly, brushing it off, but her hand lingered on Liam's arm just a fraction longer than necessary. My jaw tightened. I sank onto a nearby chair, head in my hands for a moment. Part of me wanted to storm over, shout, demand an explanation. Another part told me to gather proof, to record, to make sure Dad would understand the full extent. I pulled the phone back out, aiming it subtly, capturing their laughter, their closeness, the tiny exchanges that screamed betrayal. My heart pounded in my chest. "This isn't just a family trip," I muttered, voice barely audible. "This is something else." Mom's eyes met mine for a split second. That smile again, innocent, charming, mocking. I looked away, swallowing the bile in my throat. Dad raised his glass in a toast to everyone. "To family, love, and happiness." I forced a smile. "To family," I echoed silently, but the words tasted bitter. I knew then that nothing would ever be the same. Every laugh, every glance, every step they took together was proof of something hidden. And I was ready to uncover the truth, no matter the cost. We sat at the long table in the resort's dining hall. The chandelier cast a soft glow, but it did nothing to lighten the tension that crackled between us. "Pass the bread, Matt," Dad said cheerfully. I slid it across the table silently. Mom's fingers brushed mine when she took it. That small contact made my stomach twist. "Thank you," she said, smiling. "Too warm, too practiced," Liam smirked. "Always so serious, Matt. Lighten up a little." "I'm fine," I muttered, reaching for my water. The waiter quietly refilled Dad's glass, giving Mom a polite glance. She smiled at him, the charm effortless, like a mask she never took off. "So, how was everyone's day?" Dad asked. "Relaxing," Mom said. Her eyes flicked to Liam for just a second. "We had fun exploring the resort." I narrowed my eyes. "Exploring, huh? Just the two of you?" Mom laughed lightly, the sound too delicate to feel natural. "Of course not. You just weren't interested in joining." "I wasn't," I said, tone flat. Liam chuckled. "Matt, you make such a big deal out of nothing." "I don't make deals out of nothing," I shot back. "I just notice things." Dad frowned, looking between us. "Notice what things, Matt?" "Nothing," I said quickly, swallowing. But my mind raced. Every glance, every whisper, every tiny smile I'd seen yesterday replayed in my head. I clenched my fork tightly. Mom reached across to adjust a napkin on Dad's plate. "You worry too much, sweetheart." "Everything is fine." I stared at her hand for a long moment. "Everything's fine," I echoed, my voice cold. "Right." Liam nudged me under the table. "Still brooding, huh?" "Yes," I said bluntly. "I am." "Over what?" he asked, leaning back casually. "You know," I said, letting the words hang, heavy with accusation, "what you did yesterday. Or the day before. Or whatever you think you're hiding." Mom's smile faltered ever so slightly. "Matt, don't Matt me," I said. My voice dropped. "I see what's going on. I see the games." Dad cleared his throat, uneasy. "Games? What games?" "You'll see," I muttered under my breath, letting it trail. The rest of the meal continued in a strained quiet. The waiter moved around efficiently, refilling drinks, clearing plates, silently observing the tension without comment. I caught Mom's gaze once, fleeting, as if she knew I was watching, measuring. Liam shot me a grin, smug but guarded. Their smiles didn't reach their eyes. They knew I was aware. By the end of dinner, I was exhausted, a mix of anger and calculation brewing inside me. Part of me wanted to confront them fully, tear the mask off in front of Dad. Another part whispered patience. Proof first, confrontation later. I pushed back my chair, stomach churning, and whispered to myself, "This isn't over. Not by a long shot." I was in the corner of my room, phone in hand, scrolling through messages I'd been too afraid to check properly before. Mom's laughter with Liam, her texts, tiny clues, they were all there, plain as day. I dialed my friend, Jake. "Hey, can we talk?" "Sure, man." "What's wrong?" His voice was calm, familiar. "It's complicated," I said, pacing. "It's Mom and Liam. Something's off." I saw them at the resort. together, laughing, whispering. Too close. Wait, what do you mean, too close? Jake asked. I don't know, I admitted. It's like they have secrets. Things they're hiding from Dad. I feel like I can't ignore it anymore. Matt, if you're right, you need proof. Don't jump at conclusions, he warned. I know. That's what I'm doing, I said. I've been collecting messages, photos, little things they leave behind. But it's eating me up inside. You have to stay rational, Jake said. If you confront them without proof, it could backfire. You're thinking of Dad too, right? Exactly, I said, rubbing my eyes. I want to protect him, but I also can't pretend I didn't see it. The betrayal. It hurts to take it slow, he advised. Document everything. Let them reveal themselves. Then you can act. I ended the call and stared at the screen. Messages from Mom, playful, vague, and always ending with a wink or a heart. Liam's replies mirrored hers, teasing, flirtatious. My chest tightened, anger and disbelief colliding. I muttered under my breath, how could they do this? How could they hide it from Dad? I dug further, finding emails I wasn't supposed to see, notes on her phone I managed to glance at when she left it unattended. Evidence stacked in my mind, forming a story I didn't want to believe. A knock on the door startled me. Matt, dinner's ready, Dad called. Coming, I said, slipping the phone into my pocket. I forced a smile as I walked out, every step heavy with tension. At the table, Mom smiled at me, sweet and calm. Everything okay, sweetheart? Yes, I said, voice neutral. Just thinking. Liam snickered under his breath. Still brooding over the resort party? I'm fine, I said firmly. But my mind raced. I caught the small things. Her hand on his arm, his shoulder brushing hers, the way they laughed when Dad wasn't looking. Later that night, I texted Jake again. It's worse than I thought. I have photos, messages, everything. Then you're ready, he replied. Just remember, don't act recklessly. Make a plan. You're not alone in this. I feel alone, I admitted. Like I'm the only one who sees the truth. You're not, he said. Just stay smart. You can't undo what's been done, but you can control what happens next. I hung up and sat back, staring at the ceiling. The resort was quiet now, the party over, but the storm inside me raged. Betrayal, heartbreak, anger, all tangled together. I whispered to myself, I have to see this through. Dad deserves the truth. I'll expose them, no matter what it takes. And for the first time, I felt a clarity I hadn't felt before. The secret would unravel. I would make sure of it. I waited until the resort lobby cleared, then approached Mom and Liam as they lingered near the fountain. My chest tightened, hands clenched. We need to talk, I said, voice low but firm. Mom tilted her head, smiling. About what, Matt? Don't play innocent, I snapped. I saw you last night. I saw the way you were laughing, whispering. The closeness, Liam chuckled lightly. You're dramatic. It was just dancing. Just dancing? I repeated, voice rising. You're sneaky. Your texts, your smiles. It's obvious something's going on. Mom's expression flickered, just for a second, before she masked it with a calm smile. Matt, you're overthinking, really. We're a family, aren't we? Family? I said, feeling my hands shake. Family doesn't look like this. You're hiding things from Dad. You're playing games. Liam shrugged. Maybe we are. Maybe we're just having fun. You think life has to be serious all the time? I'm not talking about fun, I said sharply. I'm talking about betrayal, secrets, lies. Mom stepped closer, voice gentle. Matt, calm down. You're imagining things. Nothing is happening that you need to worry about. I'm not imagining, I yelled. I have proof. Messages, photos. I've seen it all. Liam smirked. Proof? Or just your imagination running wild? You can't handle seeing people happy. Happy? I spat. You call this happiness? You're playing with Dad's trust. You're selfish, both of you. Mom's eyes flashed for a split second. Selfish? Matt, you don't understand. It's complicated. Life, feelings. Sometimes people make mistakes. Mistakes? I whispered, anger and disbelief colliding. This isn't a mistake. This is deliberate. You're choosing attention, thrill, over honesty. A resort security guard appeared in the distance, noticing our raised voices. Mom waved him off casually, still smiling. See? She said softly. Everything's under control. Calm down, Matt. You're letting this ruin your mood, your vacation. I don't care about the vacation. I shouted, feeling my voice echo off the marble walls. I care about Dad, and I won't let you keep lying to him. Liam's smirk faded, replaced by a hard edge. And what will you do about it, huh? Expose us, play the hero? I don't know yet, I admitted, taking a deep breath, trying to steady my racing heart. But I will make sure Dad knows the truth. And maybe you'll regret hiding it from him. Mom stepped back, crossing her arms. You're still young, Matt. Don't let emotions control you. You think you're clever, but you're naive. Naive? I echoed, eyes burning. I've seen more in a week than you realize. And I'm done pretending I don't know. Liam shook his head, voice low. You think you can outsmart us? Good luck, just try to enjoy the rest of your vacation. I turned sharply, storming away, heart hammering. Betrayal, anger, and frustration collided inside me. Their denials, their smiles, their arrogance, it all pushed me further into resolve. As I walked away, I whispered to myself, I'll uncover everything. They can't hide from the truth forever. I found Dad in the lounge, reading by the window, the late afternoon sun warm on his shoulders. Dad, we need to talk, I said, voice tense. He looked up, smiling. Sure, Matt, what's on your mind? I saw Mom and Liam last night at the party. No, I know. They're hiding things from you. Dad's brow furrowed slightly. Hiding things? Matt, what are you talking about? I have proof. Messages, photos. I've seen how close they are. You can't trust them. He laughed softly, shaking his head. Matt, come on. Mom has been nothing but kind. Liam's your brother. He's never done anything wrong. Why would you say that? Because it's true. I snapped, frustration spilling over. Don't you see the way they look at each other? The way they laugh together when you're not around? Dad leaned back, sighing. I see them every day, Matt. I trust them. That's what family is about. You're letting suspicion cloud your judgment. You don't understand, I shouted, hands shaking. I've collected proof. I've been careful, but I can't ignore it anymore. You're blind to what's happening right under your nose. Dad's expression softened, but his eyes remained firm. Son, I know you mean well, but sometimes we have to trust the people we love. Mom would never hurt me. Liam wouldn't either. I repeated bitterly. You're choosing to ignore reality. Don't you see how manipulative they are? Dad frowned. Manipulative. Matt, that's a strong word. You're letting anger make you see things that aren't there. I'm not angry, I said, voice cracking. I'm trying to protect you. I care about you, Dad, and they don't care about you at all. He shook his head again. Matt, I appreciate your concern, really. But you need to let this go. Your imagination is running wild. Mom and Liam love this family. Love? I muttered under my breath. Love doesn't look like this. Love doesn't hide things, whisper secrets, or play games. Dad reached over and patted my shoulder. I know you want the best for me, and I trust you, Matt. But sometimes we have to believe in the people around us. You can't control everything. I pulled away sharply. I can't just sit and watch while they destroy everything. I need to do something. But what's the right way? Karma? Revenge? Or truth? Dad studied me silently. Whatever you choose, Matt, make sure it comes from a place of love, not anger. I nodded, but my chest tightened. His blind trust, his faith in them, it was infuriating and heartbreaking. I felt powerless, torn between loyalty and justice. As I walked away, I whispered to myself, if he won't see the truth, I'll have to make him see it. Somehow. I sat on the balcony with my phone pressed to my ear, heartbeat loud enough to drown the waves. Jake, I need help, I said, voice barely steady. Talk to me. What do you have? Jake's voice was low, steady, the sound of a lifeline. I've got recordings, I said. Mom and Liam at the party. And messages. I'm not sure how to use them without ruining Dad right away. Good, he said. Proof is power. What are you thinking? I can't just play them in his face, I replied. I want public exposure, something undeniable that forces the truth without letting them twist it. But I don't want Dad to break in front of everyone. He can't handle humiliation. My hands clenched the phone. So I need a plan that shows them, not shames him. Okay, Jake said. Slow down. You need a stage and witnesses. A place where the betrayers can't wriggle out. And you need someone to back you up, an ally at the event. I pictured the resort's farewell brunch. The whole family, staff, guests, witnesses. The brunch, I said. They'll be there, relaxed, I can set up a slideshow, photos and short clips, make it look like a tribute to family memories, then slip in the tape. Risky, Jake warned. They might cut you off. Or Dad might walk out before it's over. Then I'll control the release, I said. I'll send the files to the resort manager and a guest I know will post if something happens. If Dad leaves, the files go public online instantly. He'll see it later, but it will be recorded and undeniable. Who at the resort can you trust? Jake asked. The manager seemed trustworthy, I said. Polite, careful. And there's a guest from my photography class, Maya. She said she could help if needed. Good. Get her on board. And plant the footage carefully. Make a short, clean sequence. Not emotional, just facts. Texts, clips, their closeness. No commentary. Let people decide, I rub my forehead. What about confrontation? Should I confront them first and demand they confess? No, Jake said firmly. Not yet. You need the upper hand. If you confront and they deny it, they gain time. Build the case, then reveal. And be ready for fallout. You might lose Dad for a while. I know, I said, swallowing, but I can't watch them keep lying. I hung up and started composing the file list in my head. Clips from the party, screenshots of messages, timestamps, short voice notes where their laughter and whispers were clear. I would edit it into a short montage. Facts, nothing theatrical. I went to the computer, fingers trembling, and began transferring files. As I worked, my inner voice whispered doubts. Is this justice or cruelty? Will Dad forgive me for how I handle this? I turned those doubts into focus. This was not revenge for anger. This was truth for protection. I called Maya. Can you meet me at 10? I might need you to be on standby. Sure, she said. Be careful, Matt. I will, I promised. More to myself than her. I saved the files in a locked folder, backed them up to cloud storage, and wrote an anonymous message to the manager explaining the plan and asking him to wait for my signal at brunch. As night fell, the plan felt fragile and terrible and necessary all at once. I whispered into the dark, for Dad. Then I went to sleep with the phone on my chest and the recordings tucked like a loaded secret inside me. I would not let them hurt him anymore. The resort ballroom buzzed with chatter and laughter. Guests milled about, enjoying cocktails and appetizers. I gripped the USB in my pocket, my stomach twisting. This was it. I walked up to the center of the room, cleared my throat. Everyone, may I have your attention? My voice was louder than I expected, but it held. Heads turned, murmurs rose. Dad stood beside me, confused but trusting. Mom and Liam exchanged glances, their confident smiles faltering slightly. I have something to share, I continued, pulling out my phone and connecting it to the projector. It's about family, trust, and truth. The first images appeared on the screen. Screenshots of messages, clips from the party, moments they thought were private. Gasps rippled through the room. Dad froze, eyes widening. Matt, what is this? I swallowed hard. Dad, this is them. Mom and Liam. I saw it with my own eyes. I have recordings, messages, everything. They've been hiding this from you. Mom's face went pale. Matt, please stop. You don't understand. Well, stop lying. I cut in. I've seen enough. I tried to warn you, Dad. I wanted you protected. Now everyone can see the truth. Liam stepped forward, voice shaking. Matt! It's not what it looks like. We didn't mean to. You didn't mean to? I repeated, voice sharp. Laughing together, whispering, sneaking around. This isn't a mistake. It's deception. And Dad deserves to know everything. Dad's hands clenched. Mom? Liam? Is this true? His voice trembled, heavy with disbelief. Mom's eyes welled with tears. Yes, I'm sorry. I never wanted to hurt you. It just happened. I didn't know how to stop it. Liam's face mirrored hers. Dad, I never meant for anyone to get hurt. I wasn't thinking. You weren't thinking? I muttered, anger flaring. You've betrayed the person who trusted you the most. A hush fell over the room. Guests stared, whispers spreading like wildfire. Even the staff looked shocked, unsure how to intervene. Dad sank into a chair, head in his hands. I can't believe this. All this time. I trusted you. Both of you. How could you? I understand your pain, I said quietly, my voice softening despite the tension. I don't want to ruin Dad's life, but the truth can't stay hidden. He deserves clarity, honesty. Mom sobbed, covering her face. I regret everything. I wish I could take it back. Liam hung his head. We were selfish. We only thought of ourselves. I'm sorry, Dad. I'm so sorry, Matt. I stepped back, breathing heavily. Part of me felt relief. The truth was out. Part of me felt sorrow for the family fractures I'd exposed. Dad looked at me, eyes wet. You did this for me? Yes, I said, voice steady. To protect you. To make sure you see the reality before it destroys everything. I wish it hadn't come to this, but it had to. He nodded slowly, swallowing hard. I see. Thank you, Matt. I need time. The room was silent now, filled with shock, guilt, and tension. Mom and Liam faced their consequences, guests whispering, staff observing. I stepped aside, heart heavy yet clear. The truth was revealed. Pain, shame, regret, all exposed. But for the first time in weeks, I felt some measure of closure, even as sadness lingered. I whispered to myself, it's done. And now, we see what we can rebuild. The resort was quiet now. The chaos of exposure, confrontations, and whispered confessions had faded, leaving an almost suffocating calm. I sat on the balcony staring at the ocean, trying to sort the mess of emotions in my chest. Dad appeared beside me, holding 2 cups of coffee. He didn't speak at first, just handed me one. I took it silently, feeling the weight of his gaze. I can't believe it, he said finally, voice low. All this time I never saw it. I trusted them. I trusted you, but I should have noticed sooner. I tried, I said, voice tight. I told you, but you didn't want to see. I just wanted you protected. He nodded, eyes wet. I know. I should have listened, it hurts. Betrayal from the people you love the most. They do regret it, I said softly. I overheard them last night. Mom, she admitted she was wrong. Liam, too. They're ashamed. Dad looked down, hands trembling around his cup. I don't know if I can forgive them. Not yet. But I have to try, for my own sake, for this family. I understand, I said, swallowing hard. I'm still angry, Dad. But I also see that holding on to hate won't help anyone. I needed to stand up, expose the truth, and protect you. That's what matters, he nodded slowly. You've grown so much through this, Matt. I see it now. Strength, clarity, moral courage. I'm proud of you, even if it came through such pain. I managed a small smile. Thanks, I think I needed this too. To see what's real, who can be trusted, and what I'm capable of handling. I'm stronger now, even if it hurt. We sat in silence for a few minutes, the waves crashing below us. Then Dad sighed. Do you think we can rebuild slowly? I think we have to, I said. But differently. No pretending. No ignoring signs. We'll rebuild with honesty this time. Even if it's hard, Dad gave me a faint smile. Your stepmother and Liam. I hope they've learned too. They need to understand the damage their choices caused. I believe they do, I said. Regret is the first step. But it's not enough. We have to prove ourselves moving forward. All of us. He reached out and put a hand on my shoulder. You've taught me a lot, Matt, about vigilance, trust, and courage. You kept this family's heart intact, even when it felt like it was breaking. I just did what I had to do, I said quietly, staring at the horizon. And I'll keep learning, growing. I won't let betrayal or lies define me. I'll choose strength, truth, and clarity. Dad nodded, sipping his coffee. That's my boy. We'll heal. Slowly, but we will. As the sun dipped lower, casting a golden glow over the water, I felt a calm I hadn't known in weeks. Betrayal had carved scars into my soul, but it had also given me something else. Resilience, perspective, and the knowledge that I could endure and grow. I whispered to myself, I survived this. I'll keep surviving, and I'll keep standing for what's right.